Patients who tell stories in which they are frequently the victim, seldom bearing responsibility for bad outcomes, are often unwell and remain unwell. They are too busy blaming others to get down to the business of their own recovery. By contrast, when my patients start telling stories that accurately portray their responsibility, I know they're getting better. The victim narrative reflects a wider societal trend in which we're all prone to see ourselves as the victims of circumstance and deserving of compensation or reward for our suffering. Even when people have been victimized, if the narrative never moves beyond victimhood, it's difficult for healing to occur. One of the jobs of good psychotherapy is to help people tell healing stories. If autobiographical narrative is a river, psychotherapy is the means by which that river is mapped and in some cases rerouted. Healing stories adhere closely to real life events, seeking and finding the truth or the closest approximation possible with the data at hand affords us the opportunity for real insight and understanding, which in turn allows us to make informed choices. As I have alluded to before, the modern practice of psychotherapy sometimes falls short of that lofty goal. We as mental health care providers have become so caught up in the practice of empathy that we've lost sight of the fact that empathy without accountability is a short-sighted attempt to relieve suffering. If the therapist and patient recreate a story in which the patient is a perpetual victim of forces beyond their control, chances are good that the patient will continue to be victimized. But if the therapist can help the patient take responsibility, if not for the event itself, then for how they react to it in the here and now, that patient is empowered to move forward with their life. I have been deeply impressed with AA philosophy and teachings on this point. One of the preeminent AA mottos, often printed in bold type on its brochure, is, quote, "I am responsible." In addition to responsibility, Alcoholics Anonymous emphasizes rigorous honesty as a central precept of its philosophy, and these ideas go together. The fourth of AA's 12 steps requires members to take a searching and fearless moral inventory in which the individual considers his or her character defects and how they have contributed to a problem. The fifth step is the confession step. This is where AA members admit to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrong. This straightforward, practical, and systematic approach can have a powerful and transformative impact. A truthful autobiographical narrative further allows us to be more authentic, spontaneous, and free in the moment. The psychoanalyst Donald Winnicott introduced the concept of the false self in the 1960s. According to Winnicott, the false self is a self-constructed persona in defense against intolerable external demands and stressors. Winnicott postulated that the creation of the false self can lead to feelings of profound emptiness. No there. Social media has contributed to the problem of the false self by making it far easier for us and even encouraging us to curate narratives of our lives that are far from reality. In his online life, my patient Tony, a young man in his 20s, ran every morning to take in the sunrise, spent the day engaged in constructive and ambitious artistic endeavors, and was the recipient of numerous awards. In his real life, he could barely get out of bed, compulsively looked at pornography online, struggled to find gainful employment, and was isolated, depressed, and suicidal. Little of his real day-to-day life was evident on his Facebook page. When our lived experience diverges from our projected image, we are prone to feel detached and unreal, as fake as the false images we've created. Psychiatrists call this feeling derealization and depersonalization. It's a terrifying feeling which commonly contributes to thoughts of suicide. After all, if we don't feel real, ending our lives feels inconsequential. The antidote to the false self is the authentic self. Radical honesty is a way to get there. It tethers us to our existence and makes us feel real in the world. It also lessens the cognitive load required to maintain all those lies, freeing up mental energy to live more spontaneously in the moment. When we're no longer working to present a false self, we're more open to ourselves and others. As the psychiatrist Mark Epstein wrote in his book, Going on Being, about his own journey toward authenticity, no longer endeavoring to manage my environment, I began to feel invigorated, to find a balance, to permit a feeling of connection with the spontaneity of the natural world and with my own inner nature. Truth-telling is contagious, and so is lying. Lao Tzu wrote, "If you don't trust people, you make them untrustworthy. Trust is something that takes time and effort to build and can be destroyed in an instant." Friedrich Nietzsche wrote, "I'm not upset that you lied to me. I'm upset that from now on, I can't believe you." Telling the truth is a two-way street. By being open and honest with others, we inspire them to be open and honest with us. If you don't trust yourself, you will live in fear that others will betray you. So honesty starts with not lying to yourself, and this honesty has a contagious effect. Conclusion. My patients have taught me that honesty enhances awareness, creates more satisfying relationships, holds us accountable to a more authentic narrative, and strengthens our ability to delay gratification. It may even prevent the future development of addiction. For me, honesty is a daily struggle. There's always a part of me that wants to embellish the story just the slightest bit to make myself look better or to make an excuse for bad behavior. Now I try hard to fight that urge. Although difficult in practice, this handy little tool, telling the truth, is amazingly within our reach. Anyone can wake up on any given day and decide, today I won't lie about anything. And in doing so, not just change their individual lives for the better, but maybe even change the world. Thanks for watching this episode of After School. If you want to learn more, you might try my book, Dopamine Nation: Finding Balance in the Age of Indulgence.